Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now in this video we're going to be looking at one of my favourite kits. I have filmed a lot of videos. I filmed about 20 videos 2 weeks ago just to kind of get the channel up and running again, of where we're looking through the collection and what have you. And to be fair, I've only put a couple of those videos out yet, so this is going to be my most recent video, so to speak, and then I'm going to continue putting the videos out where I'm going through the collection, and I'm going to try and do about two or three a week, just to kind of get them out there, get them off my phone. I know putting too many out, a lot of the videos won't get watched and things like that, but you know, I filmed them for a reason, just to, like I say, get the channel up and running. Some of the things you'll see in the future may no longer be with me. You know, if you're in the UK, you probably would have seen those on eBay, or some of them on eBay, the ones which I've decided to sell, and you may own them models yourself now. But like I say, it was just a bit of an explanation that, you know, there's going to be videos going out there which I have filmed in the last couple of, which are probably a couple of weeks old, and by the time last one goes out, it's probably going to be 6-7 weeks since I filmed that video. So, but I didn't want to just do that non-stop. I'm going to throw a couple of videos in like this where we're looking at sort of subjects, you know, one kit at a time, rather than, you know, just ploughing through a load of old junk off the shelves, so to speak. And so yeah, I thought I'd just go through that before we really get into this video, so to speak. What prompted this video is a recent purchase off eBay. This isn't one of them. I've had these many years. I've got a number of these kits. I've got a soft spot for this. It was one of the first Johan kits I remember seeing in shops. I was probably about 4 years old, and it's a shop called Davygate Model Centre, which was in a shopping centre, a little shopping arcade in York back in the 80s. It's long gone now. I think it's Number of Bars or whatever it is now. I remember going in there and seeing two of these stacked on top of each other, quite high up on shelf. And I remember these. I remember seeing them when I was with my dad, and my dad said they were too expensive to buy, because I remember the prices were around. I think they were £6.50 each, whereas a kit at the time, like a standard monogram AMC kit, was about £3.95, around that price. Quite an expensive kit in comparison. And I was always gutted my dad didn't buy them, but you know, shortly after, he came back with both of those kits, which were stacked on that shelf. You know, I think he couldn't resist the temptation. And yeah, so really soft spot for that kit. Still got the ones which my dad started years ago, and I've never actually built one. I've never actually built one. I mean, I've got loads of these things, to be honest. I've just started moving them out. You know, I've probably got. I used to have about 8 of these, but I've kind of down to about 4 at the moment. You know, the ambulance as well. You know, that's one I think this was another one I saw in Davygate at some point, but my dad never bought this one. You know, this is one which I just remember, and then I started buying these as well, so I got a few of them. I'm just starting to clear them out a little bit. I'm going to keep a couple of nice ones for myself, because like I say, I do want to try and get them built. But the reason why I kind of went on to this subject tonight was a few weeks back, probably about. I mean, I'm not buying much on eBay at all now, to be quite honest. I'm kind of, you know, I'm seeing a lot of stuff I like, but to be quite honest, it's just not for me right now buying stuff. But every now and again, I'll spot something. It was a bit of a diamond in the rough, this one, because I saw it on eBay and there was a load of built models and the guy was selling a load of them off. They were quite quirky things. And I saw this thing first of all, and to be honest, you know, just because it was Cadillac, I thought quite fancied it. But the guy who was selling these, there was so many quirky builds and stuff like that. You know, really, really odd looking builds. But when at first glance, I just thought, right, it's a standard Hearse. Standard Hearse, and which has just been chopped up, wheel arches all cut out and stuff like that. And the one kit I'd never had before was the hauling Hearse, just because it was too expensive. In fact, there's been, I'd say, 3 I've seen on eBay boxed in the last 12 months, but really nice sort of minting box kind of stuff, the stuff which I'll never build. And you know, they're going for good money. I mean, I think the last one sold for just under 200, but I remember the one before that was closer to 300, and I just couldn't justify spending that kind of money just for something I know I'd be too scared to sort of actually build. You know, when something's that expensive, you know, it's a lot of money to sort of take away from the originality. I know everything's there for a reason to be built, but yeah, there's that collector side into me. But yeah, I thought this was just a bit of a chopped up one. Paid real no attention to it. It went past 20 quid and I completely lost interest in it. Thinking I've got enough like builders and unbuilt ones, but I don't need to add another to my collection. It was coming up to, I think, the last day at auction. I was looking at this thing and I remember seeing this, you know, he's put this custom grille from the AMC 53 Ford pickup in there, and I just thought that was a weird addition. But like I say, all the models which were listed that week from this chap were all had very sort of weird additions. There was a pickup I bought. I bought a couple more just to sort of get shipping down, and yeah, I've moved some of them on already, like, but you know, it's pickup, and it had a, you know, an old Johan rear bumper turned upside down, stuck to it back, just really random things like that. So, but yeah, I thought they just cut out the grille, but then when I started actually looking at it, kind of looking past the bodywork, and there were a few pictures like, but you know, I did notice there's a lion's share of a hauling Hearse there, and I've never had a builder before of the hauling Hearse, and I put an early bid on it. I thought, you know, I put sort of 30 quid on it, and I think it ended for like £29.60 or something, so I was very close to getting outbid. But you know, even though the body's cut up, you know, I've got a couple more builders. I think that's the ambulance actually, but yeah, I've got like the things like this which I picked up, and I think I showed these on. I think I bought these like last year or something. They just come in a lot together, so I thought I could sort of mix up a few parts and make a hauling Hearse. You know, like I say, all chassis there. It's got both engines. I did think, because I've never had a hauling Hearse before, and I looked at it on the side, I didn't actually see these headers down here. I thought it was missing the headers, and there was this quirky 37 Chevy pickup. I think it was the orange Blossom pickup, this is where this bumper came from, and it had a couple of headers on. I wasn't too sure whether they were part of this model, so I ended up buying that thing as well. But it turns out that it wasn't needed, like, so. But yeah, I mean, both engines are there. The bumper without the grille, because like I say, originally I thought the bumper had just had the grille cut off, but sort of looking at the pictures closer, I could see it was chromed all the way on top with no cut lines. Another clue that it was a hauling hearse. Yeah, I think the body's beyond putting back to original. Obviously, back at roof's gone. Some weird work gone into the back of here, but you know, the original base plate's there. So definitely enough to work in. So I would like to do that one day. Like I say, I'm not keeping a great deal for myself at the moment. There's certain little things which I'm struggling to kind of let go of, and you know, I might use like the roof for. They'll be, you know, even though the body's going to be pretty much replaced, so to speak. You know, I think this is another project that, you know, just come in a box without the box lid cut off and what have you. But I think somebody was going to make a flower car out of this. I just bought this thing as it is, but this is missing chassis. This is missing chassis, so I could, once I use the body for that, I can use the chassis for this, and either use the roof from that for that. But yeah, I think this was one which somebody was making into a flower car themselves. They've started notching out the back and there's a post in there and something. It looks worse than it actually is, to be fair. So I'll probably be best off just going with what the guy's already done in this one. But so I think out of all four of these things I've got builder wise, you know, I could probably make the flower car out of that thing, like say using the chassis from that, using the body from this to go on here. I don't think them hauling hearse decals will be too hard to sort of recreate, so to speak. And in later videos which I'm doing, you know, I've just been collecting some parts. I found a old Johan box full of old 60s parts, but mainly kind of from Johan kits, like maybe 3 or 4 Johan kits. In a later video, which like I say I filmed a few weeks ago, went through that box, and in that box I've pilfered some custom parts which may go into, I was thinking probably go into one of these builds at some point. I really don't know which, but yeah, these are all, I think these parts are from the 66 Johan Cadillac. So there's little bits and pieces, like I say, I've pilfered the whole parts out of that, like so. But like I say, that's just another video which will be coming up probably in a couple of weeks, because it was quite far down the line, to be quite honest, in filming those. But yeah, like I say, I mean, this isn't a long video at all, just me waffling on really. But yeah, I've just got to these tonight. I'm starting to pack up stuff, or box up stuff, which I'm more likely to actually do something with, and these were kind of blocking the shelf a little bit, so I thought I'd do a little bit of a video tonight, rather than sort of just put them in the box and forget about them for 6 months until I know what I'm doing with my housing situation. But yeah, I mean, like I say, so I'm going to kind of start, so back to the subject in hand, other thing, you know, you will see a lot more videos on the channel. Like I say, they've all been done probably a couple of weeks ago now, they're going to be very monotonous, same kind of thing. We're just going to be looking through 6, 7, 8 kits at a time in a video. But like I say, to break up the monotony a little bit, I'm going to be throwing a couple of videos in like this. I've already filmed a couple of videos like this which will break them up a little bit, and they're not necessarily going to be in order. So, you know, I might say things which sort of contradict the last video or something like that, don't know. But yeah, to mix the sort of subject matters up as well, I might be putting videos I filmed later on in front of others, just so we're not looking at the same kind of videos all the time, same kind of models. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mix-up. And I will check in with videos like this, just which are keeping us more up to date with what's going on and everything. Like I say, I won't be building anything for the next and until January. I can't see it happening at all. You know, this year, like I say, it's been spent with me working on my BMW. I've kind of just made a bit of a, I bought another one, but it's not a big project at all. I just bought it because it was such a rare car. But it's something I can kind of just turn around a little bit. Sorry, I'm just cat scratching away at behind me, just annoying. Yeah, take a shit if you want to take a shit. Sorry about that. The cat's scratching at litter box door, but he ain't doing anything with it. So yeah, so I've got that to working with everything else, but that's gonna be like a 2-weekend project. Decide what I'm doing with that car from then on. May do a little video on it if people are interested, but it's not really fitting with video but with the channel, so to speak. But yeah, I thought, like I say, I'd put this video out there. Thanks for listening to me babbling on there. I was very distracted there with the cat again. But yeah, it was just we'll be sort of working in stuff like this again. I'm just repeating myself now. I'm holding the cat down, but yeah, thanks for everybody who's sort of stuck with the channel. You know, thank you to all the long-time subscribers, all the new subscribers. You know, all everybody who sort of emails me and all that kind of carry on. It's very much appreciated, and your messages and stuff like that on comments on these videos. It takes me a while to get back to everybody, but you know, just bear with me. I'm not being ignorant. I'm just it just takes me a while just to work a bit of time and to catch up with all that stuff. But yeah, just so like I say, I'm so distracted with this bloody cat now that I'm just going to wrap up this video. And like I say, you'll get plenty more coming, but like I say, you just have to deal with the monotony of looking at old junk for now. But until then, thank you, and we will just see you in the next video. Okay, see you, bye.